Buddy, I have a 1966 Fender Blackface Deluxe Reverb, and I'm going to tell you all about it. We just got this in, and I have to say this is probably one of the most completely original amplifiers we've had. Original speaker, original foot switch. There's not many changes in here at all. We've sent it through the shop. It's clean. It's just a fantastic amplifier, and I'm comparing it to this older Tweed Deluxe. This has been the coin of the realm for a long time. They're kind of separate amplifiers. When you think about the step up in evolution for Fender amplifiers, they went to this Tweed amplifier, and these are basically Class A amps, meaning they have two 6v6 amp power tubes, and they burn all the tubes all the time, and it burns fairly hot, and it adds a little sizzle. They wanted more headroom. You've got to remember that in the day, distortion was bad. Really, Jimi Hendrix was like, no, it's good. But back in the day, they didn't want distortion. A little bit of sweetness, yes. So they were really trying to make a step up, and this is really an A-B circuit, and that is kind of like a teeter-totter, where one tube, power tube, pushes off the other tube. So that's an A-B circuit. A Class A circuit is the power tubes are on all the time. It'll run a little hotter. And on these early Tweed amplifiers, you have two channels with two volumes and a tone, which is basically a tone bleed circuit, meaning it's bleeding off treble. So it's a treble bleed circuit. Here it's going to sound bassy, here it's going to sound bright, and as it bleeds off the treble. Okay, so on this one they suddenly said, no, let's do a treble and bass control, and that's a really different thing. Both of these are two 6v6 circuits, and this one is about 15 watts. This really squeezes out about 22 watts, and what people were looking for really was headroom, and this is what you get. I've got the treble up and the bass down. The nice thing about these Tweed amps, excuse me, about these Blackface Deluxe Reverbs is they're very expressive. They really respond to your touch. So if you're touching fairly light, they're really expressive, and if you lean into it, keep in mind too, for these amplifiers, even the Tweed Deluxe, your input labeled number 2 is a padded input. It will be 6 decibels quieter. That's a number 2, not changing anything. Here's, oh, I did just knock it. Here we are at the same volume level. Here's number 1. You get more volume out of it. That 6 decibel pad in input 2 on both these channels is a very handy thing to have. Whether you put your Fender in it or a Gibson in it. Maybe you're at the top end of the amp at 8 and you want it to be less distorted. You can always switch over to input 2 and get it padded down so it doesn't distort quite as much. Now, that camera's going to hate me because I'm going to turn this up to 8. Here's another thing. The more you turn the volume up, the more you should roll the bass back. Why? Because your power tubes are creating these even order harmonics. The more you turn the volume up, the more you're goosing those power tubes to create more even order harmonics, and it tends to flood the bass. At lower volumes, you're going to want the bass up, but if you're on 10, your bass should really be down, and you'll get, listen for it, plenty of bass. These amplifiers are crazy well built. A, It is a pine cabinet. So pine ages and ages well and resonates more. So with time, this pine cabinet is now 60 years old. It resonates like an acoustic guitar. There's a lot of little details back there too. I talked to a friend of mine that said, what if we added an AC outlet on the back? That would add $400 to $500 on the price of an amplifier today. Nobody does it. Nobody has an accessory outlet. Back then, Fender was thinking, well, two guys might want to plug in. That guy over there can't reach the outlet. They would daisy chain their amplifiers. Or now these days, you might have rack effects or some sort of pedal that you would plug in and use that accessory outlet to power another amp, to power your pedal effects. That's a really cool thing to have in these old amps. They're also all military grade, hand wired. They're really bulletproof. These are old American made switches and you can just feel it when you turn them on and off. You go into some of like the more modern Marshalls and you got those little tiny plastic push buttons and they just, you don't want to touch them because they might break. These are built greatly, and also speakers work on both sides. The last thing that these guys did is Fender licensed the reverb from Hammond organs, and that reverb I gotta turn on the foot switch. There's reverb and tremolo. The tremolo circuit is a tube-driven tremolo circuit too. So these two special effects on a blackface amplifier are reason enough to buy the amplifier. So you get more headroom. These are probably the most referenced amplifiers in the world. They came out as a student amplifier, but really they're now, it's all pro grade. They're small, they're lightweight, they're plenty loud, and they're bulletproof construction. They tend to go up in value. I remember buying these for $200, $300 back in the day. Yes, old guys like me will tell you stories on and on about buying old guitars for just a half a pack of smokes and 2 cents. And basically that was it. These break up more. They sound really delicious. It's more Marshall-y, but these are really the coin of the realm. And this one is completely straight. It's remarkable how rare that is to find something that's never been modified in any way. And on that, I'm going to let you go and say goodbye for now, but this is probably one of the most legendary amplifiers out there.